But you mentioned Ortiz, Vergil Ortiz. How far is he away? How close is he to a title shot in sharing the ring with Bud Crawford?
I don't know. But Vergil, he's right there. He's right there. He's been proven that he belongs with the top fighters in the division. And, who knows? A couple of fights or next fight or whatever the case may be, he might be sharing the ring with Terence Crawford. You never know.
Terence Crawford has responded to Vergil Ortiz after he called him out for a potential fight. Despite having to go the full distance, Vergil Ortiz finally achieved his goal. The Grand Prairie native remains undefeated, having secured a majority decision victory over Serhiy Bohachuk at the Michelob Ultra Arena. This win earned Ortiz the WBC light middleweight title, though it did put a blemish on his perfect knockout record. However, it also opens up new opportunities for the 26-year-old, who has long been chasing boxing glory. In a bold move during his post-fight interview, he called out Terence Crawford, signaling his next challenge. The once highly anticipated clash between Crawford and Canelo Alvarez seems to have lost momentum, paving the way for a potential bout between Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Bud Crawford.
He said, forget Tinzu, the fight he wants to make is Bud Crawford and Vergil Ortiz. Let's do it. I'm ready for it, John. I think Bud is playing number one in the world, and I want to show that like I would have.
This intriguing matchup has even captured the interest of His Excellency Turki Alalshik. Ortiz Jr. made a triumphant return to the ring after a 17-month hiatus, swiftly dispatching Frederick Lawson and Thomas Delorme in the early months of the year. Unsurprisingly, this sparked a flurry of commentary from prominent figures in the boxing community, with many hailing the fight as a modern-day classic. Having sparred together in the past, Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Serhiy Bohachuk seemed determined not to yield an inch. From the opening bell, they charged at each other, refusing to back down. Each round turned into an intense brawl, captivating the crowd and solidifying its place as a contender for this year's Fight of the Year. In his 8-year career, Ortiz Jr. had never been knocked down twice until now. As the rounds unfolded, he grew more relentless, focusing on sharp body shots that gradually wore down his Ukrainian opponent. Bohachuk deserves full credit for his relentless effort, even earning a 113-113 draw from one judge. However, the other two judges saw Ortiz Jr.'s persistence and precision as enough to clinch the victory, both scoring at 114-112 in his favor. The Grand Prairie native's achievement came just after Bud Crawford made his light middleweight debut on August 3rd. Crawford, hailing from Nebraska, claimed the WBA and WBO titles by defeating Israel Madrimov. Crawford has long shown interest in facing Canelo Alvarez, but the Mexican superstar doesn't seem eager for the bout. Alvarez's response, along with his steep price demand, led His Excellency Alalshik to announce that the Crawford-Alvarez fight was off the table. With two new champions now reigning in the 154-pound division, a title unification fight appears to be the next logical step. Opinions on the fight's outcome are split. Some argue it could have ended in a draw, but many are hesitant about Ortiz Jr.'s future, particularly his potential showdown with Crawford. Here's what a few people had to say. Impressed by the intense and evenly matched battle, Lou DiBella had only admiration for Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Serhiy Bohachuk, commending them for delivering a truly remarkable performance. He tweeted, "What a f***ing fight Ortiz and Bohachuk just gave us. I have a draw, probably because I don't want a loser." Dan Rafael, clearly energized by the bout, underscored the unusual fact that both Ortiz Jr. and Bohachuk managed to go the full distance. While acknowledging the judges' scores, he seemed to believe that the decision was justifiable, considering how tightly the fight was contested. He tweeted, "First time Ortiz has ever gone the distance. Only second time for Bohachuk." We go to the cards in Bohachuk versus Ortiz. 113, 113, 114, 112x2 for the winner by majority decision. Vergil Ortiz, who wins the WBC interim 154 title. What a fight. Was very close. Hard to argue with it either way. Naji Chill thought Vergil Ortiz Jr. might have gone a little too far with his call-out of Terence Crawford. While he recognizes Ortiz's talent, the Cigar Talk host emphasized that Bud Crawford operates on a completely different level. He said, "Respectfully to Vergil Ortiz, Crawford gonna beat the hell out of him." Ryan Garcia expressed sharp criticism of Vergil Ortiz Jr.'s performance, suggesting that Ortiz Jr. should avoid projecting an aura of invincibility. Garcia, known as King Rai, pointed out that the fight was tightly contested and highlighted several weaknesses in Ortiz Jr.'s game. He said, "Got dropped twice, got hit with right hands that you can see coming. Face messed up. Don't talk like you are someone that's unbeatable when this fight was close. Serhiy Bohachuk took everyone by surprise when he shared his reflections on his second career loss on X. The Ukrainian fighter, with a hint of subtle dissent, voiced his reservations about the result. He proposed that those with a deeper understanding of the sport might offer clearer insights into the events that transpired in the ring. He tweeted, "Those who understand boxing know what just happened." Eagerly sharing her enthusiasm, longtime boxing aficionado and actress Rosie Perez expressed her admiration for the electrifying and gripping bout. Echoing the sentiments of many, she also hailed it as a top contender for the coveted Fight of the Year's accolade. She said, "Yo, this fight! Straight up 40 contender!" Award-winning boxing writer Kevin Iole labeled the bout a classic, declaring it an exceptional display of skill. He saw both fighters, Ortiz Jr. and Bohachuk, deliver impressive performances. In his opinion, regardless of the official outcome, neither contender truly lost. He said, "What a fight. Bohachuk and Ortiz just put on a classic, and it elevated both men. There is no loser in this." The light middleweight division has become one of the most thrilling to watch, thanks to Ortiz Jr. and Crawford securing their victories. Sebastian Fundora currently stands at the forefront with 2 titles under his belt. Meanwhile, anticipation builds as fans eagerly await Tim Tszyu's return, promising an array of captivating matchups on the horizon. Vergil Ortiz Jr. faces a crucial decision ahead. Despite his victory, a sharp-eyed observer might have noted that a relentless opponent could pose a serious threat, with Terence Crawford potentially gearing up to secure an undisputed title in a record-setting third weight class. Confronting Bud directly could be a high-risk move. A wiser strategy might be to challenge other reigning champions, such as Fundora or Bakram Murtazaliev. This approach would allow Ortiz to refine his skills and build up to a showdown with the Nebraskan southpaw. Oscar De La Hoya recently weighed in on the Terence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov bout, asserting that Vergil Ortiz Jr. showcases superior skills compared to the unbeaten fighter from Nebraska. Crawford stepped up a weight class to vie for Madrimov's WBA super welterweight title. After a grueling 12 rounds, Bud emerged victorious by unanimous decision, ending Madrimov's unbeaten streak. Recently, De La Hoya was questioned about the Texas-born knockout artist's prospects against Crawford. The boxing promoter expressed confidence, asserting that Ortiz Jr. has what it takes to topple Crawford in the ring. De La Hoya expressed that he believed Ortiz Jr. possessed better skills, emphasizing that it wasn't about punching power. He acknowledged Crawford's high ring IQ, but suggested that Crawford had been exposed in his recent fight against Madrimov.
Why do you think Vergil could beat Crawford?
Oh, better skills. I literally think he has better skills. And that's only it's not the punching power. Crawford has ring IQ like there's no tomorrow. But he was exposed last Saturday night. He was exposed against Madrimov.
De La Hoya continued by explaining that Crawford was exposed in a way that revealed his vulnerability when faced with a changing style. He noted that if a fighter doesn't stay directly in front of Crawford as an easy target, but instead stays on their toes, throwing jabs, hooks, and combinations, Crawford struggles to figure them out.
In what way? What do you mean?
Exposed in a way where if you change up your style, if you don't stay in front of Crawford, okay? If you're not a target to him, right in front of him, he'll pick you apart. But if you're on your toes and you throw your jab and you're throwing your hooks and your combinations, he has trouble figuring you out. And with Vergil Ortiz's power and speed and ring generalship, it can be a great fight.
Terence Crawford recently responded to Canelo Alvarez's assertion that facing Bud would be a straightforward task, suggesting that a staggering $150 million would be necessary for him to even entertain the matchup. Additionally, Alvarez expressed strong belief that he could overcome Crawford if they were to meet in the ring at 168 pounds. Following Crawford's victory in the super welterweight division against Israel Madrimov, there was a surge of excitement about a potential clash between the Nebraska fighter and Alvarez. As Alvarez prepares for his upcoming bout with Edgar Berlanga, he was questioned about the prospect of facing Crawford in the ring. The Mexican boxing sensation dismissed Crawford's abilities and suggested he would only consider a bout with him for a hefty payday. In a recent appearance on the Porterway podcast, Crawford responded to Alvarez's comments, stating, "I heard him say I'm easy work. If I was easy work, you'd take all that money that Turkey Alalshik is offering you. But still he wants $200 million for Benavidez, and he wants $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there, I'm a threat. I'm a threat to him and his legacy because it would be crazy for a guy that started at 135 and came all the way up to 168, your weight, no catch weight, and dethrone you. Like two contenders on the brink of a championship bout, each boasting nearly a 100% knockout rate. Saturday's junior middleweight clash between Vergil Ortiz and Serhii Bohachuk has captured the full focus of the sport's newest matchmaker, Saudi Arabia's Turki Alalshikh. After delivering a devastating first-round knockout with a body blow against veteran Thomas Delorme, Texas's Ortiz emerged as a potential next opponent for newly crowned four-division and World Boxing Association champion Terence Crawford. Alalshikh floated Ortiz's name on Saturday night as a possibility if negotiations with Canelo Alvarez don't come to fruition. The anticipated discussions have not only fallen through, but tensions between the parties are also escalating. Alvarez's refusal to meet with Alalshikh to discuss his upcoming fight, following Alvarez's super middleweight title defense against Edgar Berlanga on September 14th, has widened the rift between them. In a post on X early Wednesday morning, Alalshikh wrote, "I heard what Canelo said, that he respects me but doesn't like the way we do business. As for him respecting me, it doesn't matter to me if he does or not. As for the way I do business, I know why he doesn't like it, because I only target big fights at fair prices. So of course anyone who likes easy fights won't like that," he further added. "And I know how he feels after losing to Bivol, so he's been looking for easier fights ever since. Also, I'm not the one who's afraid of fighting Benavidez or Crawford. Therefore, I knew he was wasting our time and making excuses with big amounts of money that can't be paid. So I'm continuing my way to make big fights that serve the boxing world, and he's on his way to making easy show-only fights." In essence, Crawford is on the hunt for a new top contender for his upcoming bout, and Ortiz has emerged as the favored candidate. On Tuesday's episode of ProBox TV's Big Fight Breakdown, analysts Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri, and Teddy Atlas broke down Ortiz Bohachuk. Former welterweight champion Malignaggi said, "This is no gimme. With this style, this could be bombs away with a quick ending or a war. Both guys are capable, tenacious, and big punchers." Ukraine's Bohachuk, holder of the World Boxing Council's interim junior middleweight title, was slated to face the reigning WBC, World Boxing Organization, 154-pound champion Sebastian Fundora in March. However, when Keith Thurman pulled out of his bout with Tim Tszyu, Fundora stepped in, delivering a surprising victory over a severely injured Tszyu. Meanwhile, Bohachuk secured a unanimous decision win against Brian Mendoza. Atlas is impressed with each fighter's power punching, but he referred to that asset as an occasional curse for fighters who don't develop the things around it. Atlas wonders, it's a really intriguing fight. Bohachuk is a solid guy who does everything behind the jab. Will trainer Robert Garcia and Vergil Ortiz counter the right hand over the jab? And Bohachuk has a chin of granite, Algieri noted. Malignaggi said, "This potentially could become some kind of fight. The explosiveness on both sides thrills you." Before the profile-raising mention of Ortiz by Alalshikh, Algieri said, "In terms of the names and money, Terence Crawford is looking for. Vergil Ortiz is not there yet. I feel like he needs more." Ortiz's remarkable Saturday win not only positions him as the top contender for Fundora's WBC title, but also puts him in the mix with Crawford, alongside former unified welterweight champ Errol Spence Jr. This victory might also persuade Alalshikh to push harder for a Crawford-Ortiz bout, potentially featuring it on either his December 21st or February 2025 cards in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. After recovering from health problems that kept him out of action for the entirety of 2023, Ortiz told Boxing Scene he was looking forward to a run of big fights in the wealthy division. "If you're fighting tough fight after fight after fight, you're not going to see a guy go on a run. You're either going to get knocked off, or you're not going to look perfect," Malignaggi warned. He added, "But you got entertainment. And unlike the UFC, which uses this model, you're actually getting paid, so it's worthwhile to take the risk." With Tszyu, Fundora, and Spence still lurking, this is a mostly young, strong weight class. Vergil Ortiz would be a much bigger star if it wasn't for that snake-bitten year off, Algieri added. However, Ortiz's bout on Saturday was his third of the year. He's gaining ground quickly, and as he has eliminated Bohachuk with any degree of confidence, he and Alalshikh will be in a prime position to box in Crawford. In contrast to Alvarez, Crawford is closely tied to Alalshikh as a Riyadh season ambassador, having already received millions in Saudi funding after his recent victory over the promising young talent Israel Madrimov. If Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Terence Crawford fight at 154, trainer Robert Garcia believes that Ortiz Jr. will be too strong for the former undefeated welterweight champion. It remains uncertain if the 36-year-old Crawford would agree to face Ortiz, as the Omaha, Nebraska native is seeking 2 or 3 lucrative bouts before considering retirement. I think Vergil is too strong for Terence Crawford. People can give me a hard time for what I'm saying, but Vergil is too strong. Better beef, but there's also Subriel Matias at 140, who has 19 knockouts and 20 wins, but he has a loss, so that doesn't put him at 100% because he already has 1 loss, said Robert. Last Saturday night, it was difficult to overlook 25-year-old Vergil's lack of hand speed because he appeared to be moving slowly. Robert should be aware of how slowly he is moving, but he is keeping quiet about it. Crawford would thrive against a slow opponent like Vergil Jr., who bears a resemblance to Alfredo Angelo. Ortiz Jr. seems to be a diminished version of Angelo, both in size and strength. Once Vergil Jr. faces a fighter with even moderate speed at 154 pounds, he'll likely encounter serious difficulties, ultimately mirroring Angelo's trajectory and facing defeat. Ortiz Jr. is Angelo's exact replica. Vergil Ortiz would be the result if Angelo were to be recreated from start to end, which is why Crawford would be too strong for him. Ortiz Jr. lacks the star power Crawford needs to secure the kind of financial return he's aiming for. Robert suggests that Vergil would be a more appealing opponent for Crawford, but first, Vergil would need to clinch a world title. On Saturday night, Ortiz made his ring return after a 16-month hiatus, ending Frederick Lawson's bout with a surprising first-round stoppage at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas. Unfortunately, the referee's abrupt and unanticipated intervention prematurely ended Vergil Jr.'s fight, overshadowing the anticipated clash.
I mean, we're going to go back to the hotel and celebrate because in our hearts, and Sergey knows that he's a champion. He would be here right now. He didn't want to go to the hospital. The commission mandated that he goes to get a precautionary CT scan, so we're not going to argue with the commission or the ringside doctors. It's only precautionary. And my understanding is Vergil did the same thing. So without taking anything away from the fight, you got to give both of these warriors a lot of credit. So it's just for us, we feel that he's still the champion, and we feel he won that fight and should still be considered a champion.
At 25, Ortiz is making rapid strides in 2024, aiming to step into the ring 3 to 4 times. The year's grand finale will see him vying for a world title, with potential opponents including Jermell Charlo or Tim Tszyu. We're going to keep him busy fighting 3 times this year, and one of them could be for a world title, said trainer Robert Garcia to Boxing Social about Vergil Ortiz Jr. If Ortiz Jr. is to meet the level of activity Robert envisions, he must contend with tougher adversaries. Competing against opponents like Lawson and Michael McKinson won't facilitate the improvement Robert anticipates. To prepare for the caliber of fighters like Jermell Charlo and Tim Tszyu, Vergil Jr. needs to face formidable opponents who can replicate their skill and power. To gear up for such high-stakes matchups, Vergil Jr. should challenge these contenders in his next 3 bouts. The Angelo-like Vergil Ortiz Jr.'s chances against any of those 3 fighters are uncertain, given his sluggish hand and foot speed. His tendency to advance recklessly, head first, would likely make him a prime target, and it's doubtful he would endure for long against their relentless attacks. That would be awesome. Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world right now, pound for pound, said Robert when asked about his thoughts on Crawford moving up to 154. He added, "For me, ever since he was fighting for top rank, he had 1 fight against Mikey Garcia and 1 against my nephew. We knew the great talent that Terence Crawford had. To be the best fighter pound for pound in the world on my list, it would be an honor to share the ring with him, to share the ring with Bomac, to share the ring with Terence Crawford and Bomac. I would love that." What Robert isn't mentioning is that Vergil Jr.'s 20 knockouts have mostly been against fairly ordinary opponents. His last opponent, Frederick Lawson, was exactly the kind of fighter Vergil has been using to build his record throughout his career. Ortiz Jr.'s matchmaking has closely mirrored that of Edgar Berlanga's early bouts. Yeah, Beterbiev and Vergil. I know Vergil wants 4 fights in 2024, but I know, realistically, we're going to have 3, said Garcia. The 3rd fight could already be for a world title. I think this one and then another in the summer. And then we should get a world title fight towards the end of the year. We want to go for the title. Crawford's not a champion yet, so he has to come and pick up a title. Charlo would be my first choice, said Garcia, on who he wants Vergil Ortiz to fight for a world title at 154. Vergil Ortiz Jr., under the Golden Boy banner, is setting his sights on a clash with Terence Crawford in 2024. He aims to challenge the top-ranked pound-for-pound star while also eyeing the champions in the 154-pound weight class. Crawford is ascending to junior middleweight for his highly anticipated rematch with Errol Spence Jr. As he embarks on this new chapter in his career, he has his sights set on challenging Canelo Alvarez and potentially facing Jermall Charlo in the near future. In 2024, Ortiz will need to be extremely busy in order to have a chance to fight alongside Crawford. Before Ortiz Jr. faced a lengthy hiatus and health issues, he was considered one of the premier welterweights in his division. Yet, despite his impressive standing, he had yet to square off against any of the elite 147-pound contenders, leaving his true caliber somewhat elusive. There's not a whole lot of tape on him. I know he's fought someone that I've sparred before, said Vergil Ortiz Jr. to Boxing Social about his little-known opponent, Frederick Lawson. He added, "He's from Ghana. He's an African fighter, so they're tough. They're here to win. They're not here to lay down and lose. So, we're ready for that." Ortiz Jr. struggled to find his rhythm in his previous bout against Michael McKinson in August 2022, where he was outboxed for most of the fight before finally securing a victory in the 9th round. 12 months prior, Vergil Jr. found himself in trouble against Egidijus Kavaliauskas, nearly facing a stoppage in August 2021. Fortunately for Ortiz, Kavaliauskas' energy waned during his pursuit of a knockout, and he failed to recover his stamina. To train specifically for him was hard, so I worked on general stuff, like my strength, said Ortiz Jr. He added, "Sometimes you have a plan, and the fight ends up being completely different and not what you expected it to be. Or maybe you see a faster way to do it. Sometimes it doesn't matter." Ortiz further added that there were advantages no matter how the fight played out. On one hand, he would get more rounds in, helping to make up for lost time. On the other hand, if he could finish the fight in under 4 rounds, it would make a strong statement that he was still the same fighter. Either way, he saw it as a win-win situation and wasn't concerned about the outcome. "That's a really good fight. I have a lot of respect for him," said Ortiz Jr. about Terence Crawford, moving up to 154, and his thoughts on potentially facing him in the future. He added, "I wouldn't say he's the top pound-for-pound guy. I think he's definitely in the top 2, and I would love to see what I could do against him," said Vergil Jr. about his desire to fight Crawford. He further expressed, "I'm just a competitive person. I don't have any hate for anyone. I don't say, I want to fight him because I don't like him. I have respect for every fighter, and I just want to see what I can do against the best." Earlier this month, Terence Crawford claimed a title in his 4th weight class by defeating Israel Madrimov. Despite this achievement, boxing commentator and YouTube sensation Showbiz, the adult, believes the fight didn't quite reach its potential. The bout took place on the Riyadh season card, marking the debut of His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh's event in the US. The card itself was notable for its high-caliber lineup from start to finish. In a dazzling night of boxing in Los Angeles, luminaries such as Isaac Cruz, David Morrell, and Andy Ruiz Jr. showcased their skills with thrilling bouts on a single card. Adding to the excitement, Madrimov tested Crawford's limits in the main event. Yet, despite the spectacle, Showbiz labels the Crawford vs. Madrimov fight a letdown. He attributes the disappointment solely to Crawford, presenting 3 arguments to support his perspective. As many have come to know him from, Showbiz the adult posted a video on Instagram in which he addressed the topic. He began by revealing, "I'm hearing through the grapevine that it may not have cracked 100,000 pay-per-view buys." Jedan Goodman, a TV executive, was the first to reveal that the event garnered between 75,000 and 100,000 pay-per-view purchases, encompassing both traditional and streaming buys. In a separate tweet, he hinted that the Saudis might have incurred a $10 million loss from the event. As of now, official figures have yet to be disclosed. Showbiz contrasted these figures with the usual earnings from Devin Haney's matches. Regardless, the boxing commentator further added, "Terence Crawford is a temporary champion. If Jermall Charlo comes back, he's the super champ, which is diabolical." Jermall Charlo, the former undisputed super welterweight champion, lost his titles after missing the purse bids for their defense, leading to his designation as a champion in recess. However, if he chooses to return, he will have the opportunity to challenge Crawford and reclaim his championship status. And finally, Showbiz presented his 3rd point. His performance against Madrimov lost him the bag. Everybody was hyped up for Canelo and Crawford until that. Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you enjoyed this one.